Football fans, Gooners, welcome to another edition of the Positively Uncensored Arsenal podcast. I am your host, Shotta, and as usual, my expert, my friend, Blackburn George. George, a very good Monday to you. I am happy for the 3 points from the Everton game. But George, that was very, very heavy watching. If I was not an Arsenal fan, I don't know. I don't think I could have done it for all 96 minutes. George, was that your impression as well?
Yeah, it was. It deteriorated into a dreadful game. I thought we started off brightly enough
Yes.
before they got into their elbowing and kicking rhythm and fouling and breaking up play. They did everything to stop it being a decent game of football, and they succeeded. But I think we did everything we could to make it a game of football. We continued to play for the most part. Maybe 10 or 15 minutes before half time, we fell into the trap a little bit, but we continued to play and did everything we could to win playing football. And it was really excellent football that won us the game in the end. It was a terrific goal, a terrific move, clever as well because of the way we played the corner. And I think it was, again, from our point of view, it was a much better performance than the game looked. The game looked shocking, but I think we did as much as can be expected against a team that sets up to not play football.
But so you're like Arteta. You believe we played well. That was his comments after the game. But when I look at the stats, which I'll share with you, we dominated them in possession, 74%. And this is not the first time. But what concerns me is that of the 13 shots we got off, only 4 were on target. Pickford only had to make save attempts at 4, and the goal was really from a free kick routine, the corner, dead ball routine. Doesn't that give you any concern?
Well, no, not really, because like I say, I don't think we've seen this play out. We used to see it with Arsene Wenger teams all the time. You know, playing football in their half sideways, probing, not scoring, and being susceptible to the break and the counter. And people complain about it at the time. And if you're going to play basic football, there's a reason they do it. These bad managers, there's a reason they set up like that. And it's because it's so difficult to break down if you have a well-drilled team that is only interested in defending. And let's face it, that's all they were interested in. But we could have scored more. I think we did score more. The first the disallowed goal was a goal for me.
It was?
I don't see how they can rule that out. I think
Nketiah was coming back from an offside position.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because the guy, the Everton player, played the ball.
Yeah. Oh, he did. Yeah.
And Jesus was playing it backwards. Wasn't a forward pass. He was playing it backwards. He stuck a leg out to play it, a deliberate play of the ball. He stuck his leg out, whether it was a block or it was whatever he was trying to do, it was a deliberate play of the ball, which should have reset the play at that point, and everybody was onside. And it was just, it's an error from the officials. And I don't see how anybody can argue against it. Eddie might have been slightly off. So, well, he was slightly offside. The lines show it. I'm not going to argue with what the lines show. That he was offside when Jesus controlled the ball. That was the point. But when he kicked it, that shouldn't matter because he was onside when it deflected off
the Everton
player.
I didn't see that.
He didn't kick it onto him. He stuck out a leg to play it.
Yes.
He stuck out a leg to stop the ball. It was a deliberate play of the ball. And in the law, that means that everything resets from that point. So that was a goal. That would have changed the game. You know, it was only 15 minutes in. We were running riot.
Yes, we were indeed.
And it gave them a lift. You know, they got away with one. The crowd got up for a little bit. They started kicking us a bit more, elbowing us a bit more. And it just went downhill from there. But I think Odegaard could have scored a couple. Vieira, he's one in. I think Odegaard played a ball and Pickford pushed it out and it landed at Vieira and he smashed it. And somehow somebody got a leg in the way, which deflected it. And we could have scored more. I think the XG was a bit strange. It was quite low for us, but I thought we could have scored easily 2 or 3 goals. And I don't see what else you can do against a team like that that's set up like that. It's horrible to watch, but that's the reason they do it. And so many of them do it. All of them. Pulis, Allardyce, Sean Dyche, you know, basic.
Sean Dyche and Ginger Marino George. I mean, I don't know how. Well, let me just say one thing for the benefit of the audience. I don't know how they're going to get out of the hole that they've dug themselves in. They have lost almost all the games, almost all. And you know, they talk of new ownership. I don't know. You know, these teams. I would have thought that the guy that was involved with the new owner would have had more sense than what they did, but they don't seem committed to football at all. It just crossed my mind. It's
good. I hope they don't recover. I hope they go down. Horrible. Anybody who subjects the world to watching that on a Sunday afternoon deserves to be relegated.
Take a look at the stats before we move on, George. Overwhelming, 74% possession, 75%, 74 versus 26. And you know, they were defending for their lives. 19 tackles against our 9. You know, 17 clearances. I think your point is well made. We dominated them, but they didn't come to play football. You know, any thoughts? No. Any additional thoughts?
No, I mean, and let's be honest as well. They were at home.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You know, it's not like they'd come to the Emirates. They were at home. It should be on them to make some chances to win at home. No, except it looked to me like they were just waiting for us to score. It was almost inevitable that somewhere along the line we would score. But like I say, we've seen it before with Arsene Wenger teams. Did exactly the same thing. Complete control and doesn't manage to score. Well, this time we did manage to score. And I thought there was some really intricate play. I know you say it's from a set piece, but to all intents and purposes, a short corner like that, and there were maybe 5-6 touches before put it in the net. That's open play, really, in my mind. It's not a corner in the traditional sense of the word.
I know. I mean, Arteta spoke about it, that they evidently prepare for it. They know, and I think Trossard in the post game also spoke about it. That I'm recalling that they know that Everton is big, some huge big players, and they don't know, like, just chuck it in the mixer, but you know, mix it up with the short corner routine. And I'm not taking anything away from the goal. It's just that maybe I was expecting more.
Like I say, I was disappointed. It was painful to watch, but I'm not blaming us. It's as simple as that. I'm blaming them. You know, they made no attempt to play football. It's hard. I used to get this at snooker. I used to play people who had no interest in playing an attacking game. All they wanted to do was put all the colours on the side of the table and fuck the game up. So it was.
You ask me for a comment on that, please.
nightmare. But you see it in all sorts of sports, don't you?
Yes, I know. Yeah,
you get spoiling teams, don't you?
Yes,
just spoilers. They were the ultimate spoiler, and they got exactly what they deserved, which was fuck all.
Yeah, George. Perhaps the more interesting things is the selection. What the build up for the match. The David Raya over our good friend, what's his name? Name slipped me for a minute. Ramsdale. That came out of the blue.
Did
it? To me.
Not to me.
What about you?
Not to me. I said before, I think it was our first podcast of the season.
Yes.
I said by game 4, we'll see David Raya introduced.
Wow.
And he'll become the number one, because that's the way it always happens. You bring a new.
Yes, I remember the discussion we had.
And
you said there couldn't be 2 number ones.
2 or 3 games, they leave it as it is, get them used to the players and what they've done in training, and then they get introduced. There's no way we paid 35 million or whatever it was, 33 million for a backup goalkeeper. We've bought him to be our number one. Simple as that.
George, I know on your on your blog, your number of very experienced commentators like Siebes. Siebes, how are you? We miss you, but we just can't seem to get you on. And others who did say that they had great concern about Ramsdale's kicking game. And George, I saw Raya for Brentford. He is a modern goalkeeper with the ball at his feet. He may not be as tall, the big old towering 7-footer. But Ederson is not a 7-footer. But he's the best goalkeeper in the world with the ball at his feet. And I think that's what Arteta went for.
Yeah, and it's more than just that. That's a bit of a simplistic look at it, if it just distribution. It's the way he distributes the ball. He's much happier doing short passes. Ramsdale can distribute it quite well with his feet when he's going for a bit longer.
Yes.
But Raya can have control of the ball at his feet and sort of playing little triangles with the defenders.
Right.
But more than that, or as well as that, he comes and takes the ball in the air much, much more than Ramsdale. I think last season he came for some 57 balls in the air, and Ramsdale came for 17.
Really? I wasn't aware of that stuff.
Control of his box,
yes,
which relieves the pressure, and it's coming out to if you've got a goalkeeper who can come out in the old-fashioned way and dominate the box, and he can distribute the ball, and he can play the short game, then you're talking. And I think that's why he bought it. I think he bought it because he's simply a better keeper. And I like Ramsdale. He's a good keeper. He'll be a phenomenal backup, but I don't think we'll keep him beyond this season, because that's not the way it works in goalkeeping. They want to play, and rightly so. Why would he not want to play? But for me, like I said, it will be 3 or 4 games. We'll see Raya introduced he's been, and he was peerless.
Yes, his initiation, his first game, I don't think he made an error at all. I think he was excellent. But then I saw him playing for Brentford, George, and I was impressed by him, actually. Really.
He's a good player. We've not, like I say, we've not paid that sort of money for a backup. We just haven't. And now, obviously, people will say, "Oh, Mikel says he's going to be joint number one, or they're going to rotate, or they're going to share the duties, or he might sub him off or sub him on." Mikel will say anything to make Ramsdale feel comfortable. He's not going to come out. He's not going to come out and say, "Well, I've bought him because he's better." He's not going to say that. Why would he say that? He can't say that. But that's the reality, I think. And you can't expect Mikel Arteta to be honest in these circumstances. That's not what happened. You don't buy Declan Rice and Mikel Arteta comes out and says, "Well, I bought him because he's better than Thomas Partey."
Exactly.
He doesn't say that. He'll say, "Oh, he can play in different positions." They always make a reason why they've added them to the squad, and it's always competition for places. But the reality is, there are some people who are number one choices, and that's that. And the goalkeeper, Raya, will be, in my opinion, number one from this point on. Of course, Ramsdale will get games. Maybe the games where we think we're going to win comfortably in the Champions League or early FA Cup games or the other cup, EFL Cup.
Yes,
we'll get games, but I think we'll see Raya as number one, and I think we've bought him to be number one, and I think we'd be stupid to have bought him if he wasn't going to be number one. That was the point I made at the time, that it would be ludicrous to buy him and not have him as number one. And how do you sell it to him? If he would have been an in-demand goalkeeper. So how do you sell it to him? Well, come to us and I might rotate you sometimes, or I might sub you on the 80th minute, to collect balls that are coming into the area.
Yes. Well, George, I had brought up an excerpt from the .com, the Arsenal.com. Exactly as the way you put it. He said, "Oh, David has tremendous qualities like Aaron has, and so on and so forth." He's not going to say he's a better keeper. The thing that comes to mind, he did say something which was not very complimentary. He said there are a couple of games last year when he wanted to change keepers at the 65th and 80th minute, if I think 60th and 80th minute, 85th minute, next paragraph. And we said it, the people on your blog said it, that there were times when the game was lost. And on Twitter, there are people who say the game was lost because Aaron erred. So that was a nice put down. You said you're not going to put him down, but to say that I would have substituted you, but I didn't have anybody, that's not a compliment, is it, George?
No, I don't suppose it is. But, I think he's put it as well. I think he's just trying to spin it as well as he can without coming out and being honest and saying, "Look, we've got a new number one, lads, and but we want to keep Ramsdale as happy as possible." Because don't forget, Ramsdale wants to be England's number one as well.
Yes.
And
but he's not going to replace Pickford at this rate.
He's not going to replace Pickford if he's not playing.
Yes, exactly. George, before I move on from Ramsdale, I was wondering if the thought went through my mind during the game if he was, auditioning Reina, but Ramsdale is going to play on Wednesday against PSG. What do you think?
Well, he might well play against PSG, which will allow him. Because that should be a game we win quite comfortably.
You think? I don't know how the state of their squad.
Yeah, I think we should win that quite comfortably. But it might be an excuse for him to play him and then say, "Oh, look, I told you I was going to rotate them. I told you they were both top players." But I think when push comes to shove, big games, throughout the course of the season, we'll see Ramsdale between the sticks.
The proof,
not Ramsdale, Raya between the sticks.
Raya.
It's unfortunate in a way because everybody likes Ramsdale. What a great character he is, and
yes,
I'm a decent keeper. But
yes,
I don't think he's much more than decent.
By the way, George, I don't know why does Pepper Reina stick in my craw? Isn't that shithousery in South Africa which says I don't know. Pepper Reina, that character, yeah. George, the other point you made though was earlier in the podcast, guys. Go back and look at it. I think it was the first or second of the game when you said, no, it was 2 podcasts ago. That Kai Haevertz was like a lead stone on Arteta's around Arteta's ankles. I am that's my word. And you said he had to play him, but yesterday he didn't play him, George. He took him off, he played from the bench.
No, you can take this off now, Shotta.
Pardon?
Take this off the screen.
Yes, I will take it off the screen. But he made some comments about that. But go ahead, my friend. I'll get this off.
Yeah, I'm going to give Mikel credit for this because I did say that it was a problem because he's paid £65 million for him, he'll have to continue to play him. Otherwise, he'll have to admit that he's made a mistake buying him. The fact that he's done it this early is good, and it also gives them a chance to spin that in as much as, well, we're integrating him, we're going to gradually introduce him, we'll give him minutes here, there, and we'll see. So, whereas if he'd have left it another 3 or 4 weeks, he'd have had to just cut him out. And he wouldn't be able to use the excuse that, it's early in the season and he hasn't fully integrated to the team. So I think it was good management by Arteta. He certainly had to come out for me. And he did take him out. And I thought Vieira had a decent game.
Yes. Although the commentators continue to say that he's some sort of lightweight. I mean,
oh well, that's because I heard something today, and it was during the Arsene Wenger blog with David Seaman.
Yes,
and they said something that I thought, well, that's clever. This guy had said to David Seaman that. Oh no, it was on TalkSport. But anyway, somebody said to somebody else that perception is everything in this game. Mm-hmm. If you give someone the perception of what you are, that's how they'll see you.
Correct.
And you have to do that early on. If you give someone the perception that you're an early riser, you can lie in bed all day. and I thought, well, yeah, I understand what they're saying here. It is all about perceptions and how we see someone. And the perception of Vieira is that he's lightweight. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be very difficult to change that perception, no matter how well he plays or how much physical abuse he can take and how much more he has adapted to the league since last year, because that perception will stick. And they'll stick with it. I mean, remember the Granit Xhaka perception? Is a red card waiting to happen.
Right.
He's always getting sent off for 2 yellow cards. He never got sent off for 2 yellow cards.
Never.
But it didn't matter. The perception was that he did. And for me, that's the perception with Vieira. He's a lightweight, and you'll hear them saying it for months because that's.
I remember them saying that Cesc Fabregas was a lightweight. He could not replace Patrick Vieira in the midfield. Let's see how that one worked out. Remember? George, let's go to our usual feature, man of the match. That now become yesterday. I think the Arsenal have made Trossard the man of the match. I've seen others say Declan Rice is the man of the match. WhoScored.com? Wrong one, George. WhoScored.com says Saka was the man of the match. I am, this is a show, of course, and so we like to entertain ourselves. But for you, why is this such a disputatious issue after every game? I just bring up Who Scored, by the way, just for you to see.
Well, we've got Trossard on Who Scored.
Pardon?
We've got Trossard as man of the match on Who Scored.
Is it? Yes,
He's got
down at the bottom there. I'm sorry, George, my mistake. Yes, Trossard, who scored because he scored a goal. He came on in.
Yeah, well, that's the way they do it. But I think he was good. I thought he was good. I thought Vieira was good, and Odegaard was quite good. Declan Rice was quite good. Declan Rice, yes. If you look at his stats, they look phenomenal. But a couple of times he gave the ball away in very dangerous areas and got away with it.
Yes.
Nobody seems to have noticed those. But he still had a good game. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he had a bad game and kept giving the ball away, but I think he only lost the ball about 3 or 4 times. But on 2 or 3 of those occasions, they were bad giveaways in bad areas.
Right.
There were simple passes that he didn't complete in quite bad areas in our own third or getting towards our own third. So I would say that Trossard deserved it, really. I like him as well, Trossard. I like him, especially like his teeth.
Yeah, he's a peroxide blonde too, George. George, by the way, I think honorable mention should be given to Saliba. I was watching him, especially in the first half. He had that guy Beto. He managed that defense in the second half when they were throwing him. You know that Shandage thing is to have a big old lump up front that threatens the rear guard. And Saliba in particular handled him well, but I noticed that Gabriel Magalhaes has gotten a higher rating. I suppose maybe because of the assist, what so-called assist to Martinelli. I don't know. I thought he defended very well. Your thoughts?
Saliba, yeah. I thought Saliba was good. I thought nobody had a bad game. I was also very happy when Mikel Arteta took Zinchenko off.
You did? Okay, yes, towards the end.
It was quite a bit to go. And I thought, good, because it can become a liability not being in that fullback position and giving the ball away from time to time. Towards the end of the games, we were under pressure. I thought that was good, a good tactical switch as well.
He put Tomiyasu over there, correct?
Yeah. So I thought Arteta had a good game. It was a horrible game, like I say. I'm not going to pretend that we played well because we weren't allowed to play well. But I think we played as well as we were allowed to play.
How does that set us up for PSG and Spurs, George?
Well, I'm not an expert on European football, but I think from what I've seen of PSG, we should be winning that. And as for Spurs, I'm really looking forward to it because they're a different team.
Yes.
Under Ange Ball, as they like to call it now. I think they'll come for a game of football. And we'll get a good game of football. I'm not convinced we'll win it.
Yes.
I'm not convinced we'll win it. We're probably favourites. But I think we'll see a good game of football. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it because, well, it's 8 years without what's his face has gone to where did he go to? Barcelona, right? Is it Barcelona? No, he went to Bayern. The striker from England.
Gareth Bale.
Yeah, no. The striker, their striker for years. Oh God, George, I'm getting up in age. Both of you, you know I'm speaking. He's England's current striker. I know.
Harry Kane.
Yeah. 6. What is like? He did 6, 7, 8 years at Spurs. Did that much? I know the time flies.
He was there from when he was about 11 or 12 years old. So he was here nearly 20 years, but he went out on loan a lot.
Yeah, I know.
they look a better team without him.
Right.
Which is a bit like West Ham. West Ham look a better team without Declan Rice. It's not because they've got a better player than Declan Rice. It's because they've used that money quite wisely and they're playing a system that suits the players they have. And it's the same with remember when they sold Coutinho from Liverpool. They bought Alisson and Van Dijk with the money.
Yes.
Coutinho was their best player, but they replaced him well. And I think it's similar with Spurs, that they just happen to play better. And we've seen it at Arsenal with possibly our greatest ever player. For me, that's Dennis Bergkamp. But there's an argument, and a good argument, to say that it's Thierry Henry. And when he left in 2007, we thought the world would come to an end. And 2008, Adebayor replaced him, and
You're breaking up, George, at this moment.
Am I still breaking up?
Still breaking up, but I make it like your final comment so we can wrap this up. Don't.
Yeah, you're saying Adebayor replaced Henry. Mm-hmm. So correct. I think that Spurs are a better team without Harry Kane.
Well, George, perhaps it's a good note to end, because for some reason the internet is going up and down. But that's going to be a game for us to look forward to. I'm not sure we'll cover the PSG game, but we'll certainly cover the Spurs game. Thank you, George. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Until we get together again. Bye.